Nah, talk your talk.
They're gonna be like, I saw Cuz on there talking. I didn't like it.
Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on PharcydeTV. I just hopped into the Double Dutch without warning to my co-host Jeremy Scippio. And Jeremy, I was born ready.
Exactly, bro. Let's get it.
Super ready.
What's going on, people?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So man. Adisa, man. Woo. So the story that I was telling off air was me getting to know Adisa. And like I say about a lot of things, my relationship with the far side has brought me different relationships with different people and whatnot. And Adisa was he was ushered in through a relationship with Mike Realm, and
one and only.
I did not know how close they were or really anything, about Adisa. I just knew that I put him on the guest list a couple times for some shows or whatnot. But Mike just kind of does his own thing, so we had never really, been in each other's space until the show that the Far Side did with De La Soul, Eric B. and Rakim, the entire Wu-Tang Clan, and it was Far Side, Eric B. and Rakim, De La Soul. Was that it? That might have been it. That's enough.
Hieroglyphics.
No, they weren't there. Nope, they weren't there, man. It was.
Hey, listen to me right now. I'm only gonna say this once because I don't gamble. I'll bet you any amount right now, any amount that you want to put down that they were at that show and on that stage. I want to see you say a number and let me give you my cash.
I like this guy. I like this.
Well, I'll tell you this.
What show was it?
It was man. Jeremy's quick on the keyboard. Yeah, it was Far Side, De La Soul, Eric B. and Rakim, and Wu-Tang Clan. So yeah, it was a festival. But
at the Shoreline Theater.
Sure was.
In Mountain View, California.
Sure was. And the reason why I won't wager with Bishop is because he does jiu-jitsu and he also plays chess, and his wit is a little more on point than my wit is, and so we just gonna by default by default. But I remember seeing Opio up there though. I remember seeing Opio.
Every A plus Tajay.
He said, you know what, Domino,
Festo,
Dale,
Domino.
Okay,
look,
Wu-Tang. What year was this?
It was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
19. Was this 19?
Okay, and
could have been 19.
All right, keep going, y'all. I'm gonna find this out.
So we at the show, and Mike is like, "Yo, man, can you get Adisa backstage?" And I think Adisa was one of his homeboys, and so I knew the promoter, and he was just kind of like Greg, and it was crazy because like people were just straight up lying and doing anything to get backstage.
To do anything to get in, blood.
Oh man, the backstage was just so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous. So I asked the promoter if he could get Adisa in, and he's like, "Oh, I'll try to talk to homegirl, but she's getting kind of funny. I guess whoever his plug was with Live Nation, whoever it was." So anyway, Adisa, I could see him like right there, like literally we're probably like 10 feet apart, and then it was one of those things where it wasn't really anything I could do, so I was having to pass him and go back and forth. And I was just like, damn. And then Mike was like, "Oh man, can you get him in?" And I was just like, man, I've done every, they're getting funny with me. And I don't know if I had collected the bread or whatnot. And man, when it come down to collecting the bread, it's kind of like, I really don't like to ask anything other than,
I know, right? Because you like,
know what I'm saying? Like all that extra stuff. We'll get to the extras if they're gonna give extras after bread is collected. But I don't want to, whatever. So anyway, Adisa was still there, like maybe 20, 30 minutes later, he was still there. And something happened, but I got him back. And then now this is the only thing I know about Adisa. He's Mike Realm's hell of a homeboy. Mike Realm raises him up. He's like, yo,
we fam. Me and Mike are like,
oh, dude, yeah. And so Adisa gets backstage, and so I'm like, okay, he's backstage, cool. So I go over to where like our dressing room is, and I look over, and he's chopping it up with Jizza for like 15 minutes, and I'm like, damn. So he, you know what I'm saying? He's okay. I get it, but see, I didn't know Adisa or really know what he did or whatnot. The only thing I knew, like honestly, I'll say I knew more about you after the fact with Mike Realms. He had said something about I think someone had sent Mike a really expensive chess board or something like that, or sent you an expensive chess board.
That was like a $15,000 chess board.
Yeah.
Like, when Mike got it, he was afraid of it. He was like,
oh wow,
can I touch this? I don't.
And I know that you got like there was a photo shoot involved, and I think you took a picture with who?
RZA from Wu-Tang. It was for the cover of Chess Life magazine. So basically, I knew this guy who you'll know the brand in London is called Harrods, right? So Harrods is like the big brand in London, like that's, you know, the Macy's, the Nordstrom, you know what I'm saying? It's top of the line. So they sell chess boards in Harrods. And I was doing a cover story for Chess Life magazine. And I called the guy. I was like, yo, can you send us a chessboard? And so I quarterbacked it so that they sent Mike Realm this $15,000 chessboard so that when he took it to RZA, he could set it up and do the cover with that. It was crazy. It was so crazy.
Dang.
And that article won Chess Journalist Cover of the Year award.
Hey man,
gratefully.
So I'm gonna go into the interview, but I'm gonna drop one thing. Since you into jiu-jitsu, I went to junior high school and high school with Daniel Inosano's son. You from?
You're lying to me.
Yeah, man.
What?
Come on, man. So my homeboy, who's Daniel Inosano's son, he has a picture of his father. Bruce Lee's holding him. And basically they're at a park, and Bruce Lee, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and his father are smoking a joint. They're like past the joint, but Bruce Lee's holding my homeboy. You know what I'm saying? Like Bruce Lee's, when they wouldn't let him do
out of control.
When they wouldn't let him have a dojo downtown, he got a dojo in Harbor City, which is literally like 4 minutes from my house right now. They don't put that in the movies and all that stuff, but he had a dojo out here, and Daniel Inosano taught him the Filipino martial arts.
Yeah, the Eskrima. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
off the chain.
Yeah.
As of right now, I'm going to have to give it to you, Smooch, because I have no evidence currently as it stands that Hyro was there that day, but excellent. I'm still looking.
This is great. You know what I love? This is the trap door. Come on, 1 more steps, and I'm gonna drop that thing on you, and them gators gonna be waiting, boy. You heard me? Gators gonna be waiting. You know how I know? You know how I know? Because me, Brown, Domino, and Opio took a picture in front of the dressing room.
Ironically, what I'm doing is scouring.
We took a
everybody's
picture in front
IG
of the dressing
right
room.
I'm scouring everybody's IG right now.
Check Brown's IG, and I guarantee you it's gonna be in there.
I know that Opio was there. I know I saw Opio. I remember seeing Opio.
Oh my!
And I remember seeing Dale, and I remember seeing Dom. So
I just can't wait for this. This is gonna be so fun.
Nah,
keep going. This is gonna be the longer it takes is gonna be the better.
So yeah, as the suspense builds, right? The reason I was talking to Jizza is because I've known Jizza pre-Wu-Tang. I met him when I was writing for a Black Panther newspaper called The Commemorator, and I interviewed him for that Black Panther newspaper. But you know what? I didn't put it out. I don't remember. Sometimes I mean, this was the days of cassettes, so I don't know if the cassette was messed up or whatever. But either way, me and Jizza stayed cool, and we would be in contact periodically. Like I remember there was this time when he lived with his grandfather, and then when I would call, I didn't really know him as Gary, so he was like, hello, and I would be like, hello, is the genius there? And he'd be like, yeah, the genius. You know how your family doesn't take you serious. You know what I'm saying? His grandpa was like, the genius. Gary, some man on the phone for your boy. You know what I'm saying? And it was just always funny. You know what I'm saying? So we were always cool. But me and Jizza to this day are extra tight. And anytime we get to kick it, we do. Last time he was here, they did that 3 Chambers tour. Yeah. It was him, Ghost, and Ray. And me, him, and my instructor, Gumby, we hung out. And, you know, we've hung out once or twice before back in the days with HHCF. And, like, I always think it's funny that, like, when people, like I was telling one of my friends who was trying to go to the show or whatever, he was like, so what was it like when it was backstage, when you were backstage? I said, bro, what do you think it was like? Hookers everywhere. There's cocaine on the tables. It's incredibly chaotic. And his mouth is like this. He's like, and I'm like, I'm just kidding. I said, you would be bored backstage at a Jizza show because it's just me, Jizza, my instructor, some scientist kid. You know what I mean? And we're over here talking about chess and physics and eating vegan snacks and water. I was like, it's not the chaos that you think it is. He was like, oh man. He was like, no, you told me there was cocaine and hoes. I was like, what? No,
I'll tell you the funny part. Like, because I didn't know you that well, and like Mike was off doing something. I don't know what Mike was doing, but Mike wasn't around. But I kind of had this thing because like it was just so much to get you backstage. I was like, man, I hope this dude don't come back here, man. Dude, put it this way. Adisa had the excitement in him, man. He had the excitement in him, and I was just like, oh man, I hope we did the right thing. And then when I saw the Jizza,
is he back here wilding on the low?
You know what I'm saying? And then when I saw him kicking it with him for like 15 minutes, and they was like engaged in deep conversation, and it was before Wu had went on, and I was like, dang. I was like, okay. And then, you know, Mike kind of was like breaking you down to me. And I remember, you know what? We've done enough of this. We're going to get into the interview. Because we're going to talk about some more hip hop, jiu-jitsu, the Bishop Chronicles.
Yes. Yes, let's do it.
We'll do family reunion. I'll call you off air for family reunion, and we'll get and we'll get that cracking. Good, so, man. Where were you the first time you heard hip hop, and what song was it?
Okay, so ironically, I'm gonna say that I don't remember the song because I was listening to a mixtape. So I can tell you some of the artists that were on the mixtape, but I don't remember which was the first on the thing. So the year is 1982.
Okay.
I am at my cousin's house, my cousin Steve. And as you might imagine, I was the nerd in the family. And he was the buff, cool guy. So he had a weight set. And this is in Daly City, California. And Daly City is famous because of DJs some of you might know, like Mixmaster Mike, like DJ Apollo. And even though Qbert isn't from Daly City, he's kind of from where the border of Daly City starts to turn into San Francisco. All right. So Daly City, probably like per square mile, has more devastating, like can demolish you DJs than any other square mile radius in the world. I almost guarantee you that. So I go to his house. He's lifting weights, and I was sitting on his washing machine watching him lift because I was just, you know what I'm saying, just listening to music and watching him lift. So he's down there trying to be Apollo Creed, and I hear this music I never heard before, and I was like, looking. He had a boombox, and I'm looking at the boombox, and I'm looking at him. I'm looking at the boombox, and I was like, what is this? And he got the mixtape. My friend Jesse Carr made it. And he goes back to lifting. I was like, I knew that moment I was going to be involved in whatever that was forever. Didn't know what capacity, but I knew forever what was coming out of that boombox was going to be a part of my life. I said, I need a copy. He was like, yeah, no problem. He didn't care at all. It had the Cold Crush Brothers. It had Run DMC, I believe. And it had somebody else. I remember the Cold Crush Brothers because the song was punk rock rap on Tough City. And I actually somehow, I think I took it from my homeboy Mark, but I have that 12-inch still. which by today's rap standard would be horrible. Like if you listen to punk rock rap by the Cold Crush Brothers, like no one will be impressed. But at that time, it was unbelievable, right? So I got that mixtape dubbed by Jesse Carr, and I immediately was like, I have to be a DJ. Like I have to be a DJ. And my birthday was coming up, so my dad was like, what you want for your birthday? I was like, I'm going to need 2 turntables and a microphone, sir. Forthwith. You know what I'm saying? And be speedy, sir. And so he was like, he did some research and he was like, look, I can get you a mixer and a reverb, or I can get you this mixer, but this mixer is higher grade. So you want a mixer and a reverb, or you want just a mixer? And I was like, I want a mixer and a reverb, because I thought a reverb was like that computer shit that would make you sound like Egyptian Lover, or I didn't realize that it, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I want a reverb. Should have just went for the higher mixer. So we had 1 turntable, so my dad bought another turntable, so now I had 2. He bought the mixer and the reverb, and then my dad was like, all right, so here's how it works. Did you hear what I just said? My dad told me, here's how it works. It was 1983, February 6th. So wow. He's like, so you use the fader and you come back with it. My dad taught me how to scratch, dog. Do you understand what I'm trying to get to you?
Wait a minute. But in 83, they had to be belt drive.
Yeah. It had a belt. They both had belt drives, but the crazy thing was I know somewhere in this house I can get a picture of my setup somewhere, but my turntable was so old it sat on springs. So I had to brace it, so when I would scratch it, the head wouldn't move. I had to brace it, because if I pushed, it would move. One of my turntables, it was old. And so that was my first setup, and Pops was like, it right? So he's like, so that's how you do it. Now, I already knew how to make scratch pads because of I'm in the 7th grade. I'm playing. I'm sitting, and my boy had a Walkman. Dating myself. A Walkman was a small handheld cassette player. You could put a cassette in it and you could listen to it. It was the first time on earth that was possible.
Might as well have a Rolex, man.
It's like it's like the 80s version of the iPod. You know what I'm saying? It's like the great grandfather, right? Okay. So he's sitting, white dude sitting, ignoring me. The class is empty. I guess it was lunch. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but I was like, what are you listening to? White kid. He looks at me. You don't know anything about this. Don't worry about it. I was like, white kid. First of all, have a seat. And he's like, do you know anything about rap music? I was like, hell yeah. What do you listen to? And he was like, DJ Cheese or something like that. And I was like, DJ Cheese? He was like, yeah. Do you know what scratching is? And I was like, yeah, I know what scratching is. He's like, how does somebody scratch then? Like, you have to understand, like, this shit was brand new. A lot of people didn't know. I was like, you got to have a record. You go back and forth. He was like, okay, I'll let you listen. So he played some shit for me. I think it was DJ Cheese and the Knights of the Turntable. So turns out he's a scratch DJ. I'm like, he was like, I got the whole setup at my house. So it was by going to his house that I actually knew what I really wanted by the time my pops had asked me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had seen his setup, but my dad knew how to actually scratch. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So me and Mark become cool. There was another kid named Ravi. We start going to Mark's house and we become like a crew. You know what I'm saying? And so that was how I started.
So did you think hip hop would be as big as it is today?
I knew it was going to take over the earth. That's why I stayed.
Wow.
I knew it. I was like, this shit's going to be everything. Everything is going to be about hip hop. Everything. So I started gathering hip hop shit early. When I say early, like, I mean, I got like somewhere in this house, I don't even know where I put it. I have a signature from Eazy-E from his first show, NWA's first show at a roller rink in San Leandro, California in 1987. on a Martin Luther King's birthday celebration, had NWA at a roller rink in San Leandro.
He would have been proud.
They tore that shit down.
Wow.
He would have been proud. So, you from the Bay? What city exactly? Again?
So I was born in San Francisco.
Okay.
And my father worked for United Airlines, which was a hell. So I grew up in Pacifica and San Bruno, which is like San Bruno is near the beach, and the high school that I went to was like 2 blocks from the beach, but it was open enrollment. I don't know if they had open enrollment down in LA, but that meant if your school was open enrollment, anyone could go there. So even though it was technically a very suburban school, like a quarter of the school was kids from the hardest hoods, Fillmore, Hunters Point, you know what I'm saying, Sunnydale, you know what I'm saying, click clack. So, you know, you had this ironic mix of poor white trash and middle class trash with hood kids, and it was a great thing for me because I could surf and DJ. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. This was my life.
Where'd you go to middle school?
Pacific Heights. That's where I met Mark Spurlock. He was the guy that really kind of brought me in. So yeah, I think the real thing is I got the mixture in. My dad showed me what's up. I didn't know that Mark knew hip hop, and that's how we ended up forming the crew, because he didn't think that I actually knew what DJs did, right? And what ended up happening was I went to his house, and I'll never, ever forget this day. We go to his house. He's got Knights of the Turntable. He's got, who's it? It's not the Funky 4+1. The people that put out the DJ Cheese record put a second record out, and I'll remember what that song is called later. But Dr. Dre had just put out Surgery as a 12-inch, and people who really know hip hop shut up about East Coast hip hop across the board at that time. That solo scratch on that record was the best scratch in North America. Nobody could beat that solo scratch. Do you hear me? If anybody wants to contest me, you find me a solo scratch from that year, and I guarantee you, talking about like technique and speed, no one was fucking with Dre. And so he plays Surgery for me, Mark. And I'm like, oh, isn't this scratch fucking crazy? And he's like, yeah. He goes, he's pretty fucking good, huh? I was like, yeah. He goes, I can do that scratch. I was like, have a fucking seat. He's like, no, watch. He puts the instrumental on and he goes, I mean, it was so fucking clean, bro. I looked at him and I was like, Sensei, like, I had never seen no shit like that. And I didn't suck, but I had never seen anything like that. So he was the leader of the crew, right? It was me, him, and this East Indian kid, Ravi. So he made me raw. And our crew was legit. And so then there was this other fools over in Pacifica, blood. They call themselves the Posse, and they spelled it wrong. Posie. They came to school the first day, the Posies. I said, the Posies? Y'all are like flowers and shit, nigga? Like, what? None of y'all looked that word up before you got the crew jackets, nigga? What the fuck? So my boy heard one of their mixtapes, and he was going down the hallway. And so he was like, who is that? And they were like, oh, that's us. And he was like, Jay, my birth name was Jason Parker. He was like, oh, Jay will kill you guys. And they fell out because they were harder motherfuckers. Not by much, but they were harder. So one of them named Joe was like, he came up to me, was like, hey, what's up, Jay, nigga? I was like, I don't have any money. He was like, no, I don't want the money. I heard you had a DJ crew. I was like, yeah. He was like, are you good? I was like, oh, we're fucking dope. He was like, let's battle. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll kill you myself. Like, who DJs? You? He was like, yeah. I was like, who else? He named some of these other clowns. I was like, yeah, you guys already spelled your name wrong on the fucking sweater, so I'm unafraid, right? But the reality was, me, Mark, and Ravi were not G's. right? So he was like, let's battle for equipment. I'm like, I'll battle you for equipment. And then I thought about it and I was like, we can't enforce our winning. Like we could go there and beat them and then they could beat the fuck out of us and still take all of our shit. Yeah. So I was like, hey, you know what? I was like, I don't give a fuck about no fucking battle. But like, if you ever want to get destroyed, I will fucking destroy you. Ooh. So they were talking shit like whatever. And then my boy Jamie Scott had one of my mixtapes and he played it for them. And they were like, that's him? And he was like, yes, blood. Like, you will get fucking wrecked. So after that, like they gave us love, even though they were thugs compared to us, but they weren't really thugs. Mm. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, we were dope, man. Like we didn't fuck around. And then middle of high school, there was a guy from LA who was originally from Hunters Point, and his name was 12 Gauge. And like he was fucking yoked. He was from Double Rock, actually. Mm-hmm. And there was a guy named DJ EFX who had studio time, and that's where I made my second beat. My first beat was made at Fantasy Studios, where Tupac and Digital Underground used to record. Fantasy Studios is a legendary music studio. But my second beat, I made at DJ EFX's house. And 12 Gauge was coming in. And when 12 Gauge heard my song, he was like, who is that? And he points to me. And he could not believe that a little fucking nerd, you know what I'm saying, was doing all of this shit. And so he was like, oh, we should talk, man. And we became cool.
So we have
and he was really on some street shit.
We have a comment section. People have been chiming in, following along with your story and stuff like that.
Hey, yeah.
We have somebody at Oil House. They want you to describe surfing to a non-practitioner.
Oil House. Surfing to a non-practitioner is like riding a skateboard made of water. And then when you crash, like you don't bleed, you just kind of be underwater for a minute. Although I did almost drown one night. I got caught in the undertow. That shit is real as fuck. Do not get caught in the undertow, nigga. I almost died. But yeah, that's what surfing is. And it's beautiful. And everybody should do it. Everybody should do it at least once in their life. So, what was I saying? Battle, 12 Gauge. So 12 Gauge is really on that street shit. Or was done. He was coming out of the street shit. That's why he left LA. And we put a crew together, man, and it was called One Nation. And it was me. The second beat I made was at DJ Cubert's house. So it was me. My DJ was DJ Disc, the DISK, the one that used to be Herbie Hancock's DJ after DST stopped. You know what I'm saying? So Hubert lived catty corner to Disc. Okay. So we created this conglomerate crew called One Nation. Right. And then later I hear about Tupac and his crew, One Nation. And so my crew was like, well, who are these fools? And I'm like, I don't know. I heard, you know, there's a crew in like Marin and, you know, Santa Rosa and shit. So what it was is that Ray Love, who was in One Nation, used to party at this girl's house down the street from where I grew up. And that's where me and him met. And he was like, oh, you're hella funny. You remind me of my boy Pac. One day I need to introduce y'all. So then when Digital Underground did their record release party, Tupac was there and I went early and then like we met. And like if you Google ADISA and Tupac, you'll see a picture of us. And he's got his arm around me. It's like we had literally just met. Like he was like, Ray, he was like, hey, this is my boy, this is my boy Bishop. And he's like, Bishop, this is Tupac. And he's like, hey, what's up, man? Tupac. I'm like, what's up? And somebody said, hey, let's take a picture. Because the door hadn't opened yet. The front door hadn't opened yet. And was like, psh. And I took this picture, and then like now that shit's hella legendary.
Nah, man.
But I always knew hip hop was gonna be.
I googled Adisa Tupac, and it's definitely Tupac, and it's this really skinny, bony guy with glasses and a kufi on. That can't be you.
That's the era, homie. Is that the era? Look at that hat. Look at that hat. That's the era.
The kufi. He got the. Brother. Yo, you serving bean pies? He serve you bean pies?
Cool.
Nah, you clean here. You clean here, bro.
Look at him.
You clean
Nah,
here.
I was never in the nation. I was this close to joining the nation. You know what I'm saying? I was close to joining the nation.
A 5%?
Nah, you know what? In the West Coast, it took a minute for the guys to hit in the Bay.
Mm-hmm.
We were definitely one of the last areas. The way that I learned a lot about the 5% was this young crazy ass fool named Esau. Like, I don't know, he had just got out of Rikers or some shit, and so his mom made him leave Brooklyn, and so he came to the Bay, and he was my girlfriend's partner's man, and he was crazy. So it was him. I don't remember his right-hand partner, but then there was this dude named Iquan Law, and then there was a dude named Kwame Law, who's very well known as like a DJ and hip-hop person in the Bay. But in the beginning, I didn't know Kwame. I knew Iquan Law and Issa, and they were the original 5% dudes that I knew in the Bay. But there's probably a deeper history that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the gods. So I wasn't, but I went to San Francisco State to join the Nation of Islam at a Khalid Muhammad rally thing, where he was invited to speak, and I sat in the second row, and I was like, nigga, I'm fixing to join the Nation today, nigga. You know what I'm saying? We fixing to, said it, boy. And so while he was talking, he was like, he started disrespecting Malcolm X, like heavily. And I was like, oh, dude, you wouldn't have this job if it wasn't from Malcolm. I gotta go. And I just left. And the next day he went to UC Irvine, and some dude tried to kill him, and he got shot in the leg.
Wow.
It's either UC Irvine or UC.
Oh, wow. So so this next question I have right here, you've answered it like 20 times over, but I'm going to ask it anyway, so you could just put a little definition behind it. When did you become a hip-hop scholar?
Ooh, shit. You know what, man? If I'm honest, I was always a pack rat by nature. So when things happen, I would collect it. You know what I have? 1983. I told you about Dr. Dre, right? Mm-hmm. He came to do an in-store with the world-class Wrecking Crew at Creative Music, one of the most important record stores that ever existed in San Francisco. It was Creative Music. Rest in peace, Joe, the dude who owned it. I couldn't go because I was in trouble. I was always grounded. Everybody told me, like, man, you were grounded like half your life. Like, my parents grounded me like all day for everything. And I was a mischievous kid. This kid comes back. He's got a picture of the world-class Wrecking Crew. You know, like, I didn't even know you liked rap like that. And he was like, yeah, man. I saw Dre, DJ Yella, Clientele. Everybody was there. I was like, no shit. And I was like, dude, give me that picture. He was like, no way, man. I said, can I buy it off you? He was like, yeah. I was like, how much? He was like, $3. I said, I'll bring you $3 tomorrow. I bought it. I still have it. I have never seen that picture in circulation in the earth. It's the entire crew wearing fucking starter jackets, nigga, on 1200s. Oh, crew. That's when I became a scholar.
That was after the glitter. Yeah, that was after the glitter and the gloss and the in the
you know
powder.
What I mean? Like I actually, it's pre that, right? Because the original they were just starter jackets, and then they went to the glitter because they weren't really. You feel me? It was early Wrecking Crew, like no videos. It was crazy, man. So I started becoming hip hop scholar then because I was just gathering. Shit had to do with hip hop. I got it. Like I got a VHS tape, Beats and Rhymes video. Fucking Beastie Boys first time they were on Oh my God, I just disrespected the dead. Who was the woman that used to be on the Johnny Carson show? Then she got her own show.
Joan Rivers.
Yeah, I got Beastie Boys on Joan Rivers.
Oh wow.
Like not just their performance, but their interview. You know what I'm saying? Like I was recording anything that had anything to do with hip hop, man. Like I got a videotape that has the first time LL Cool J performed Cut Creator. It was on a special Diana Ross like holiday thing. And I always kept a VHS tape on ready. And she was like, and LL Cool J. And I just put it in and he did Go Cut Creator Go. That was the first time it dropped and the single wasn't out yet. That's how much of a fucking nerd I am on this shit.
Well, guess what, man? You over-answered my question, man. When I didn't think he could go any further with it, he broke me down.
Man.
Switching gears a little bit. What's your favorite fighting movie?
Oh no, I can't answer that.
Yeah, you can.
Because there's way too many and it depends on my mood.
Okay. I got. We gonna get back to Jeremy's question.
Yes,
but I want you to answer one question before you answer Jeremy's question.
Okay.
Was Chuck Norris the truth, or was he? What was Chuck Norris?
He was a top tier American karate fighter of his time.
Okay.
Unquestionably. And he started training jiu-jitsu before most people knew what it was. So I'll give him credit for not only being a champion in the style of his time, to evolve to learn more later. Because everybody wasn't. A lot of karate dudes that were really good got mopped just because they didn't understand the value of being on the ground, and he wasn't that way.
Okay, so before you get back into Jeremy's question, I'll say now I have a greater respect for Chuck Norris, other than hair dye and Bowflex.
Exactly. And whatever that horrible, what was that show where he wore the cowboy hat? What was that? Texas Ranger something or whatever?
Ranger, yeah.
That shit was trash.
Oh man, I like Texas Ranger.
I couldn't rock with it.
That fight he did with Bruce Lee when he was ripping off his hair, man. That's hilarious, bro. That is he's ripping off his chest hair.
That is my favorite kung fu film.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because it was my first. That was my introduction to Bruce Lee.
Which one was that? That was Return of the Dragon.
Return of the Dragon.
Yeah, man. That's a classic, man.
Yeah, man.
I thought you would say something like what is it? With Bruce Leroy? What is that?
What was the one? What was the movie with Shonuff?
Oh no, yeah. That's it. Yeah. I can't think.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dang, I can't think of what it's called. Dang.
Oh,
and there's people screaming that movie into the camera at the screens right now. We're like, what movie was it? Yeah. What the?
Oh shit!
What was that? Timeout. I'm almost there. Vanity. I'm almost there.
Hold on. Let's see if somebody. Nah, nobody answered yet. Dang. I can't.
Return of the Dragon, Bruce Lee. That was my entry point into him. However, I am so old that he is not my introduction to
The Last Dragon. Sorry,
The Last Dragon. Okay. There he is. Everybody's like, "Boo, Adisa, boo, Greg, y'all whack. What the hell?" You know what I'm saying?
That's funny. All the names of those movies sound the same.
Yeah, they do. Kung Fu, the TV show, I used to watch when I was in kindergarten, and so that was my introduction to Kung Fu. It was not Bruce Lee. It was Kung Fu, the TV show. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to have a Kung Fu lunchbox. That's how about it I was back then. Like that was my whole thing.
I had issues with Kung Fu.
Why?
Tell me why, although I'm pretty sure I know.
You know exactly why, man. I'm not going to speak on him because he's no longer here like that, man.
Hey, I'm going to speak on him because he's no longer here like that. David Carradine was hella weak, did not really do Kung Fu, and hella appropriated Asian folks forever. That's not it.
Yeah, so that part. Like, dude, he wasn't Asian.
He wasn't Asian, bro. And
I mean, he looked Asian.
He was not.
Oh my
Asian,
God.
man.
You
That
almost
was the
got canceled.
time.
You almost got canceled just now.
I mean, but that was the years and years they've been doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Jeremy's
that's
gonna do a joke. Jeremy gonna do a joke about it, man. You give
I mean,
him
that
material, man.
years and years of them doing that. I mean, you know, we in a whole different era. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that is
you know what I'm
true.
saying? They
But
had-
that was my intro. That was my intro to Kung Fu, was the TV show. And then when I saw Bruce, I was like that's not even comparable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't realize that that was whole Bruce's idea. They done casted this man to do what Bruce was doing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know any of that. Obviously, I was just fucking 9. But by the time I saw Return of the Dragon, so I started watching Kung Fu when I was 4. Saw Return of the Dragon when I was 9. Made my first pair of nunchucks that day. Like, as soon as I saw Return of the Dragon, I literally went straight downstairs, saw the broomstick down, measured it out. I had a chain. This is so weird, random. I have a cousin. All he did was, when he was younger, he smoked mad weed. So we went to his place one day, and he had this weird small chain. Like, it was just a metal chain. It would fit in your hand. It was just gray steel. And it was sitting on his dresser. And for some reason, even though I was like 5 years old, I looked at it and I was like, hey, can I have this? Can I have this chain? And he looked at it like, what the fuck? Yeah, take it. And so I put it in my pocket, hella juiced. I went, got the chain out the drawer, used pliers, pulled it apart, put the links back together, and made my first set of nunchucks.
How many times
Busting
you
my
hit yourself?
face up.
My introduction to just
like
fighting and
hundreds.
this stuff.
But to this day, if you give me some nunchucks, I will harm people. I will harm people with nunchucks.
My introduction was Ninja Turtles movie.
Ooh.
That was my introduction. I'm a lot younger.
That's dope. That's dope, though. That's a great way to come in.
And,
what was yours? What was yours, Greg?
Hey, man, that wasn't my thing, man.
What? None of that.
You were way out. You were way out.
None of this in the house,
Man.
Never, blood.
Nothing.
I have always been about the bread, man.
He was like, I was out here trying to stack bundles. You know what I'm saying?
I was breeding hamsters back then, man. You know.
Wow.
Found out I could make some bread off of some hamsters humping. What?
Hey, that's
what?
Salute, bro.
Little fuzzy furry
lit.
things humping, able to slang them to people.
Yeah, bro. That was money back then too, blood.
Gestation period 30 days. What?
you knew back then. He was slanging hamsters in middle school. That's wild.
That's so dope.
So
that's so dope.
So tell me this, Adisa, I'm sorry. Jiu-Jitsu. So what got you into jiu-jitsu? Like,
man, it's a deep story, man. So, you know, I grew up loving Bruce. I took karate and judo for a little bit. I was okay at judo. As a kid, but I wasn't that damn good. Karate was trash at. Took several different kinds, several different times, trash. And I'm really deep into hip hop, and I'm trying to learn Eskrima Serrata, a stick fighting style. And that's when I got hip to Dan Inosanto and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But I did a style of Eskrima that came from the South called De Cuerdas, which isn't quite the deep South where the Muslims are, but it's kind of related to the Moro style. Anyway, shout out to Illustrissimo and all the real OGs. If you play with the sticks, you know what I'm talking about. Now, the guy who put me on to Eskrima had bought some Gracie Jiu-Jitsu tapes, and he started showing me the stuff, and I was like, holy shit. Like, I didn't believe it worked. You know, when I saw the Gracies just get on top of people and pound them and then choke them, I was like, nah, these fools are taking dives. No way this shit really works. And then, like, my boy started doing some of that shit to me, and I couldn't stop him. And I was horrible at Eskrima. Like, I knew I was never going to be good at Eskrima. So once I saw this stuff, I was like, oh, I'm going to just do this. You know what I'm saying? So I started learning off videotapes. This is pre-UFC, like a couple years before the UFC. So once the UFC hit, I saw Hoist Gracie beat Dan Severn with a triangle choke, and he was 180. Dan Severn was like 260. And I myself at that time weighed 165. And I was like, shit, if this fool can triangle choke somebody that's 260, this shit really is the truth. You know what I'm saying? I knew he was going to win. I believed he was going to win, but to see him do the triangle, I was like, yo. So not long after that, my boy Jamie called me. He's like, yo, Half Gracie has a school in Mountain View. I was like, where's Mountain View? He's like, it's not far from you. I was in San Jose. He was like, you should go. So I went. Half wasn't there that first day. I had no sports. Like, all I did was soccer as a kid. I was not, you know what I mean, like super adept at sports. So I came back sore as fuck, and they weren't even punching me. It was just that I was not a motherfucker who did anything, you know what I'm saying? And it hurt so bad that when I would move in my sleep, I would wake up. And I remember looking up at the fucking ceiling and going, man, this shit fucking hurts, bro. Are you ready to keep doing this shit? Because you are fucking sore right now. And I was like, all right. You're going to go back tomorrow and see if it feels like this. And if it feels like this again, you can quit. But if you can make it through the second practice, you'll stay. And I stayed. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, I've done work with people who've taught instructors, you know, instructors for jiu-jitsu and whatnot. And the thing that I just can't wrap my mind around is the thrill that these guys get when pain gets inflicted on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they really cool with, like, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Tying go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Tying conversation together. You know, that's masochism, you know, enjoying pain.
Yeah.
And David Carradine, I don't know if you know how he passed away.
I do.
It came up yesterday on IG somewhere.
Yeah, man. He was it autoerotic asphyxiation.
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Asphyxiation, which is the longest word in the dictionary, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
That and the fictional word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Yeah.
Sir.
Between those two
together.
words.
We together.
Hey,
yeah,
man,
David Carradine went out cold, man.
Well, I just say I'm boring, man. I don't like fast cars. I don't like pain inflicted. I don't like none of that kind of stuff, man. I just like a little bit of bread.
But you know what, though? Can I tell you? Keep it moving. Pain free.
Yeah.
So I actually don't like pain either. I think that and like anybody who listen, when I graduated high school, for real, I weighed 100 pounds. 100 pounds as an 18-year-old grown man, flat.
I was 160.
My goal was to be able to bench my weight 100 pounds. And I was able to pull it off barely. But I did it. I was so small. I remember asking a girl if she wanted to go to homecoming. And she said, but what about the cancer? I said, what? She was like, what about the cancer? I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, I was so small. There was a rumor going around that I had cancer. I was like, I'm over here on the Make-A-Wish Foundation and shit, just trying to get a date. That's how small I was. So when I started jiu-jitsu, even at 165, I mean, I was really small. You know what I'm saying? And you know, what happened is, you know, like you think it's painful, but that's what the tap out's for. As soon as your arm starts to feel it, there's no more pain. It's not like they're pulling your arm and you're just sitting there, like as soon as you can't breathe or your arm starts to break, you tap and they let go. That's what allows you to keep going.
But what about these dudes? His faces look all lumped up and all that kind of, you know.
That's different. That's MMA. So you know, like straight jiu-jitsu has no punching or kicking in it.
Oh,
like
yeah, it's momentum, right? Momentum based.
Well, it's like wrestling. Like that's not a part of jiu-jitsu. You know what I'm saying? Jiu-jitsu is wrestling. So it's rough because you get slammed and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, when choke holds and submission holds get applied, you just tap and then you just restart. You know what I'm saying? So it's not as painful as you think.
So if a boxer squares off with somebody that knows jujitsu, they'll destroy the person that knows jujitsu as long as they're not on the ground.
Not necessarily, but I mean, like, because they're still standing chokeholds and arm locks. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to be on the ground to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I want to
choke someone standing up.
I hate to even keep bringing this up, but I am on the Hyro page and I don't see any evidence. No hard June 22nd, 2019. I don't see them shouting it out or nothing, man. But
man.
The search is continuing.
I love all of this. I love this. Hey, anybody who's watching, bro, go pull up something from hieroglyphics at the Wu-Tang show.
Nice.
I'm gonna tell you what it was.
But I'm about to go on my phone, bro. You about to
No.
We go.
Let me. I'm gonna tell you what it was, Jeremy. Either Opio showed up.
Oh shoot, we got Mike Real right here though. Mike is in the chat. Mike,
hey, was hieroglyphics at the show, dog? Was hieroglyphics at the Wu-Tang show, and did they perform? I need you to let them know.
Were they at the Wu-Tang? Mike Real was the hieroglyphics at the Wu-Tang show that had the Pharcyde. Who else was there? This is a
Pharcyde, Rakim, all that blood. You know what it is, man. Tell them.
So, and it says Pharcyde and more. More has to be Hyro. Mike, and please answer this for us, man. But why he is answering this? What is your favorite documentary?
Ooh, my favorite documentary. Probably When We Were Kings.
Oh, who's that?
When We Were Kings is about the rumble in the jungle between Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm talking about.
That song at the end with Lauryn Hill and with the Fugees. Oh
what?
My God. Oh my God.
What?
Oh my God.
I haven't seen one yet.
What?
Yes. That was, they had Don King. They had,
come on, man. James Brown.
Muhammad Ali was just,
nasty.
Oh man, he got into George Foreman's head, man. And it was just, oh man, you just saw it. That was the one where George Foreman, he had the German Shepherd,
and all the blacks were like, you out here looking like a white dude right now. We're not sure you're cool.
All right, Mike said it was either Hyro or Souls of Mischief, which is just a huge technicality, by the way.
Ooh. It was Souls of Mischief, technically, but they are in hieroglyphics, so they count, and I'm right.
Okay, all right.
Unless, of course, you're saying hieroglyphics is not unless you're saying that Souls is not a part of Hyro. In which part?
Okay.
And I'll let you say that, because I would never.
Yo, I hated it. I just like when these things go down. Like, so funny.
I would never.
I'm up here doing my little Batman detective work, and I'm like, man,
I'm about to pull it up. Watch what I say, though. Watch what I say. I'm gonna get my scroll on until it is found, my friends.
Oh man.
Okay, so favorite documentary. It is probably, When We Were Kings.
When We Were Kings. I gotta watch that.
That's unbelievable. I mean, that is an unbelievable piece of work.
Truly. They got stranded. And it's so funny. When you look at everybody, they look like they were partied out.
Oh my God.
So Jeremy.
Wow, this was legendary. Wow.
No, Pete.
Yeah.
So it was James Brown, BB King, but everybody flew on one plane.
Wow.
They were like, the plane was so heavy with luggage and people that they piled on. The plane barely took off.
Barely made it out, blood.
And everybody that you looked at on the plane was faded and drunk, man. And they was at 1970, you know, they was powdered up, man. They was faded.
It was going down.
Oh yeah, they was faded.
And if it's not that, what would it be? I'm not sure. I think I just got to stick with that for now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's just like,
no, that's a hell of a pick, man. Like, seriously, like,
there's
nothing but legendary acts associated with that, man. Like, I'm extremely jealous that you picked that. I gotta watch that. Literally nothing but legends associated with this. I'm looking at it right now. This is crazy.
That's a lit one.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best advice anybody's ever given you?
Ooh, this is a deep one. because I just came out of a divorce. Right? This is a deep one. Right after I got married. And I don't even know why my dad said this to me. Like, I have no idea why he said this to me. We're literally just watching TV. Nobody's talking. And he turns to me and he goes, son, I got something to tell you. And I was like, what's up, Pop? He was like, sometimes when people argue, they say things that they don't mean out of anger. I was like, right? And he goes, and you can apologize for what you said, right? And I was like, right. He said, but even though you can apologize and that person can forgive you, you can never unsay it.
Yeah.
Like, that you said it, whether they apologize or not, isn't the point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, make sure that you don't say things that you don't, you know what I mean? That you don't want to have to unsay.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, like, I remember that forever. And then, you know, you trip off that, you know, in your interpersonal relationships with family members, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So like, yeah, that's probably like be careful before you speak, because you can never unsay what you said, even if you apologize. Like, that really stuck with me. And he told me, he said, you know, I've seen married couples get split, not because like the person didn't apologize, but because the person who heard it, you know, they can never unhear it. You know what I mean? Even if they can forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I totally remember that, man. That was real.
Yeah, no, I relate to that just because I feel like whatever people say in anger is the truth. You know, like they might not mean it the way they mean it, you know, at the time, but it takes that type of anger for that truth to come. That's something that they've been holding on to.
Yeah,
especially women. But
yeah,
everybody, they got that thing. They've been thinking like, I ain't gonna say it, and they get mad. They be like, yeah, nah.
That's why like, booty won't. What?
I'll be like this. I'll be like, yo, that's it. And you know, sometimes I don't even hold it against them, but I just make a note. You know what I mean?
You know, yeah.
That's it. You know,
and that's why, like, when people be drunk and they pop off, like, you pay extra close attention, because that stuff's been brewing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You be talking shit, clowning. Hey, that's why, you know what I'm saying? That's why your parents are flooding. Mm-hmm. That's why Granny always loved you more. Oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know you thought that, Vlad. You thought that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, yo, but they really did. They've been holding on to that shit forever, man. Over like a candy bar in the 7th grade. She gave you a candy bar, and I knew she always loved you more. You're like, I don't know what you were talking about.
Well, drunk, that's a whole nother thing. That's too many truths come out when too many truths come out. Yeah. Too many truths. I've told some of those truths, but
way too many.
What's the most legendary moment you've been a part of? Or if you could just name a legendary moment that you've been a part of. Well, you've told quite a few, actually. That Tupac picture is pretty dope. I ain't gonna lie.
I'll give you a Tupac story, and then I got a Jizza story and got a Tupac story. I will let you choose story. Which one goes first.
The Jizza story.
First?
We started. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So here's a story about how I almost made the Wu-Tang Clan not happen. I almost
that's the name of this episode, by the way.
Yeah. This is the story. And for the record, I don't even know if he remembers this, but I believe he does. In fact, I don't even think I brought this shit up to him. Did I ask him that? When the last time we spoke, I think I brought this up, but this is true. This is a true ass story. So I'm writing for the commemorator. I meet Jizza. We chop it up. We share numbers. At some point, he comes back out for a second show, and his manager was Mel Kwan. Talk about 5%, son. Mel Kwan. Know what I mean? So
go get my kufi.
Yeah, brother. You know what I'm saying? And 2 bean pies with some tea, would you?
That's the closest thing I have.
There we go. We'll accept it today. Mm-hmm. There he is.
Was Bill Duke in Car Wash?
Exactly. So the night after the show, he asked me if me and my lady and her friend can give them a ride to the airport. But I don't have a car. I had a bucket and my shit was fucked up. So she was like, oh, we could use my car. I was like, all right, cool. The day of that flight, we go to the Nikko Hotel, which is a beautiful hotel in San Francisco. It's all Japanese down and shit. They had a sick ass suite. It's a fucking rainstorm. And when I tell you that this rainstorm was for real out of control, it was like the worst torrential rain you would never want to drive in, straight up. She's got this crazy ass car. I don't even know if it exists. I think it was like a Yugo or something. Like, you got to understand, if you drove a Yugo back in the day, it was a horrible car.
Remember Yugo,
right? And the front left tire was half flat. This will come up later. So we go, because of the rain, we get there late. You know what it's like to tour, and we're about to miss the plane. You know that vibe. That's the vibe. We throw everything in the back. We all jump in. And my lady and her friend are in the back. Jizza gets in the back. Melquan is built like Capadonna. He's fucking gigantic. He's like meth. He's big. Okay. I got the car and drive. Melquan goes to the back and he slams the trunk and he puts his first leg in the front seat and I punch it. Whoop! And the back part of the car hits him. Bah! Throws him into the front door. Bah! Then he falls into the seat wet because, it's a downpour. Melquan is completely fucked up and angry. And he looks at me and I'm like, I'm so sorry. And I know he wants to beat the fuck out of me. Like, not even kidding. Like, he wants to fuck my shit up. But I'm the ride. And so he's like wiping himself off and shit, mad as fuck. And he's like, get us to the fucking. I'm like, all right. So then I punch it, man, with that front flat tire. We almost went into the center divide like 3 fucking times, man. I almost took Jizza all the way out, but I made it to SFO airport and I made the Wu-Tang Clan happen. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't take credit for that.
You know what I'm saying? I saved Jizza's life, and he went on to the Wu-Tang Clan. And you're welcome.
Well, I like to thank you for Liquid Swords, man. If it wasn't
I tried.
Yo, thank you, bro.
So now my Tupac story. This is a deep story. So if you look up Tupac sues Oakland Police Department, you'll see a story where he won a historic judgment against Oakland Police Department for beating him.
Didn't he shoot the cops?
No, that was a separate situation many years later in Atlanta.
Okay.
But one day Tupac got hemmed up for jaywalking, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
And when they asked him what his name was, he said his name was Tupac. And one of the cops was like, no mom would ever name their son Tupac unless she was stupid or something like that. Wow. And Tupac was like, fuck you. Everybody loves a Feeny. You know what I'm saying? So he went off on a cop and they beat him really bad. So after he got beat, I had interviewed him for the Commemorator. And it was a horrible interview because he didn't really want us to talk. And so I ended up writing way more. Like, I think like he gave me like 2 quotes. You know what I mean? This was literally like a day or 2 after he had been beaten. And I shouldn't have interviewed him, to be frank with you. But he was injured. Like, he had like knots, swollen face, all that shit. Feel me? Mm-hmm. So Public Enemy was touring with Anthrax. And they came to the Henry J. Kaiser. And I was already cool with Chuck D. I met Chuck when I was 19. Me and Chuck were cool by now. I mean, fucking Public Enemy was already big when I met him, but like they were super big by the time that Anthrax tour hit. It was Public Enemy, Anthrax, Young Black Teenagers, which was a white rap group. And I don't remember who else was on the bill. So the day of that show, the Oakland firestorm happened, which was a fire that almost burned down like a quarter of the city, probably. If you look up Oakland Firestorm, the show happened. And so I went early. I got backstage and I walked into Public Enemy's dressing room and Chuck was asleep on a long vanity table. Has all the lights around it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's asleep. He's as wide as the table. He looks like there's no S1Ws. And Harry Allen is sitting on a card table, like a basic square card table, also asleep. And I walk in the back and I'm like, I could fucking kill Public Enemy. Where's the fucking S1s? Where's Griff? There is big fucking security hazards right here. Somebody needs to call OSHA. This is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm standing there looking at him like, I could kill Public Enemy. And I'm just standing there. I have not spoken anything. I'm standing there for like 2 minutes. Chuck must have felt me. He opens his eyes and he looks at me and then he rolls his head back and he's like, what's up, Bishop, man? Shouldn't you be putting out fires and shit? Because the whole, there's smoke all over.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's fucking crazy, right? And then he wakes up and he's like, oh, what's up, Bishop? I'm like, chilling, man. He's like, where the fucking S1s? It's what happened to Tupac. And I said, man, it's fucked up, bro. I spoke to him the other day, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't really do an interview, whatever. Anyway, yeah, they beat the fuck out of him. I don't know. He might sue, and he was like, that's fucked up. And I was like, yeah, it is. And then Harry said some shit about white supremacy, as he's known to do. And he said, listen, he goes, if you see Tupac, you let him know I'm going to dedicate a song to him tonight. I was like, cool. He's like, all right, cool. So then I bounce, and as the venue starts to fill up, I see Tupac. And he's got I think he had his arm in a sling still. I could be wrong about that, but I believe he had his left arm in a sling. His face still had Vaseline cuts and shit on it. You know what I mean? Like, he had obviously been fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I could see there was a distance, there was 10 rows of people between us, right? The venue's filling the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? So we nod and then I'm like, yo, Chuck is going to, and then the beat, and now, right? So he's like, what? And I'm like, Chuck D said that they're going to dedicate, right? And so after a while, he's just like, I can't fucking hear you. You know what I mean? So I'm like, it's all good. And I just put my hands up like, whatever. So Public Enemy starts doing their shit. And Chuck is like, yo, stop the music. Terminator X. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, I just learned that the Oakland Police Department had beat my brother, Tupac Shakur. And the crowd's like, boo. He's like, we don't tolerate that shit. This is Public Enemy. I don't remember the song that they did, to be fair. But let me tell you, I don't know whether it was Can't Trust It, because it was Apocalypse 91. It was the year of that album. Man, whatever song they fucking jumped into, the ocean of human beings, like a wave, it's not can ever capture in words. It was unbelievable, because the city was on fire, because Tupac had gotten beaten, because it was Public fucking Enemy in 1991, right? Anthrax, fucking madness. And I'm getting bumped, the whole, you know what I mean? These waves, man. And I look, I can see Tupac, and the crowd is he's rocking too. He's rocking, and his eyes are dead center. He can't see me. And he's crying. He's crying because Chuck D is honoring him, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching him cry. And like it was it was unbelievable because I knew he was crying because he felt heard as a black man.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was crying because he knew Chuck could relate to that shit. And I'll never fucking forget that shit, bro.
Wow.
Never.
That might be one of the most legendary stories I've ever heard. Wow.
Yeah, that's my real life, dog, man. I just feel lucky, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know, like, you know, I'm not rich and shit. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not like, you know, there's a lot more famous writers about hip hop and shit. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of motherfuckers who have, you know, teach hip hop at different universities and do different shit. You know what I mean? Like, but my life, man, I wouldn't trade my shit for any of those motherfuckers ever. Not any fucking one of them.
Now, see, if I would have known one of those two stories, I probably would have had to, you know what I'm saying, take the promoter, man, and tell him I don't know what homegirl's going through, man, but this is Bishop, you know, Chronicles.
you gonna need to parlay that. You need to parlay that pass, player.
My girl's homeboy, hip hop scholar, right here, man. You know what I'm saying? He's holding more knowledge than you know, most of this venue right now. You know,
I actually found the article that you that pretty much was on Tupac legacy. Yeah, man. So if you guys want to keep up with the story, you guys want to keep up with the story, go ahead and follow that link I sent y'all. But yeah, man, that's real stuff, bro. Really appreciate that. That's real.
Yeah, man, that shit was fucking crazy, bro. And Chuck remembers that shit too. And like what's crazy though is like I actually left the venue at that point because I was kind of fucked up by it. But apparently they fucking brought Pac on stage and did all kinds of shit. I fucked up. I should have hung. I was too emotional.
Tell me this, man. Your thoughts on war.
So I just did a podcast on the war in Ukraine. If you go to Bishop Chronicles on iTunes and Spotify, you too can listen and learn. You want my thoughts on war in general or my thoughts on this war right now?
General.
My thoughts on war in general are that so I've been auditing, which really just means to sit in on a class at Stanford University. And so I've been sitting in on a philosophy class taught by Professor Greg Watkins. And one of the guys who came through and gave a talk about, you cover different kinds of philosophy, right? And stuff like that, and writing and how it shows up in different writings through the ages. And so one of those guys did a history of slavery, like with an exclamation point on slavery in North America, but like taking it all the way back in mankind as far as he could find it. And what I learned is that human beings are fucking horrible. Men are a cancer on the earth. Like when I saw all these slave codes from the codes of Hammurabi, from the old Texan Rome, from all these, I was like, dude, men, we're horrible. We do some real lightweight demonic shit. And we always find a way to justify it. It can be race, it can be religion, it can be philosophy, it could be for natural resources. We always find a way to do things, you know, to one another. And so I think that, you know, as brilliant as we are as a species and all the things that we've done from this technology that allows us to have this conversation right now, all the way to the guy that wrote the first word in a rock, right? Or the first person who made papyrus, right? In ancient Kemet, right? Like, we're brilliant, but somehow we cannot seem to find a consistent way to honor the humanity in one another. And in the women that give birth to all of us. Understand, the greatest man we know, a woman can probably do that too and give birth to men. So like we'll never be able to compete, right? We'll never be able to compete with what they bring to the table because they can do everything we. So you know, when I think much religion, philosophy, music, arts, science, and whatever we can figure out. We can never figure out enough of it to not legitimately believe we need to kill the other person for whatever reason. And so like, I don't know. I often wonder if we have the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
And like, if war's always been around, what if like, and we know how limited we are, right? We know we only use like 5% of our brain or whatever the fucking number is, right? So like, what if all the shit that we keep seeing is just the limitation of our brain?
Absolutely.
That war is an inevitability because we can't think past X. You know, we can idealize and we can do all this stuff, but we can't actually get past X. I don't know if that's possible. So I think war is an inevitability, you know.
You take two little kids, you put them together. They start arguing over a toy. One of the kids is gonna bop the other one.
Yeah, eventually, right? Eventually,
if a grown-up doesn't intervene in it, somebody's gonna get bopped.
Somebody's getting punched.
And then they're gonna get the treatment that Holly Berry got when Chris Rock grabbed that turkey. No, it wasn't. Was it Chris Rock? Who grabbed the turkey from Holly Berry in the movie?
Was it? What was that? You're right. What movie was that?
Said I'm a man.
That's right. That was in New Jack City because that was based out, right?
Oh, they was crackheads.
Yeah.
Right. I keep forgetting that she was there.
Yeah, I'm a man. He broke it down to the most animalistic, you know.
Yeah.
And that's
the thing.
I think what you're tapping on is the fact that, you know, is as sophisticated and as brilliant as we think we are and we try to be, we obviously can't. There's no way we can be that. Exactly.
Animals,
there's no way. Exactly. Because we still resort to the, you know, the same basic instinct of having to conquer and dominate another human being in order to understand them. And it's like you said, to even we go as far as to kill
or feel at peace, right?
And
like what is it? What is it in some man that we go, I can't sleep until all of them? Like, that's insane. That's insane. But we do it. We do it no matter what our skin color is. We do it no matter what our religion is. We do it no matter what we say our philosophy is. We always find a way and a reason to leave that door open for violence.
You know, the end, when the Rona first jumped out, I was one of these like, man, I probably ran out of toilet paper from when Rona first jumped off, probably like about 3 months ago or something like that, man. Like I was going to Costco. I was, you know, I had that nervous energy and all that. And it was interesting to me because I was going to Costco like before everything shut down. Like I was there when there wasn't a limit on toilet paper, when we knew
he was racking and stacking.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about it is I saw people get into it in the store that wouldn't have normally got into it. And it would even be man against woman type of thing. But it was just something about the hysteria of what was going on that straight, like it brought the straight animal out of people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like two dogs that don't like each other, that kind of square up and the hair raises on the neck and the tail turns straight up and the ears.
And they're like,
and I was like, dang, it's crazy how we're all going through this thing that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But like I said, with Chris Rock and Holly Berry, when it all boiled down to it, some people was like, hey man, I don't care what your situation is. I'm grabbing it. It's in front of me, and fight me if you want it.
Yeah.
All these sophisticated human beings. Sophisticated. Like they you know everything. You're so intelligent, got all the language and the education, and yet you're gonna fight somebody in a grocery store over toilet paper.
Yeah.
That was gonna say.
No, it's nuts, right? And so, you know, the I'm sorry, go ahead, brother.
No, go ahead. I'll let you get the final word on that.
No, I just remember, you know, like in the world famous Supreme Team, the rap song World Famous. He says, you know, the first law of nature, self-preservation. If the show doesn't help you, change the station. And I remember later when I started learning about, you know, the Nation of Islam, you know, Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that the first law of nature is self-preservation, right? So we can wear whatever we want, we can say whatever we want, and we can let the technology of the time give us the illusion of civilization. But I guarantee you, if I could take Donald Trump and drop him in the middle of Utah with no celly, no nothing, if you gave him like fucking 2 weeks to survive, at some times you'd see him slap boxing a raccoon trying to kill it for sustenance, right? And it's not because he's crazy, but because when you put the human organism in a situation where it has to go primal, it'll do it. It doesn't matter. The most sophisticated person you know, if I left him in the jungle for 7 days, they'd be a fucking animal, setting traps, trying to make fires. You know what I'm saying? Like starting to fucking plant seeds and shit for the next season. I'm telling you, it doesn't take much for us to become supremely animalistic, right? And so when you see all of these systems failing in North America, the education system is broken. It's so broken. You can see it now because of the Rona. All the Rona did was amplify everything that was wrong with you as a person, with your love life, with your school, with your education system, with your money management. All the Rona did was like super emphasize what you were already failing at. You know what I mean? And so like when you see all of this violence and you see people squabbling over toilet paper or fighting over a box of lamb chops in the Costco, like what you're seeing is that we're failing ourselves on everything we said we were.
The way you describe stuff is you could visualize it. Couple people, Oil House said you did a good job of putting us there when you were telling the Tupac story, and he said he made a callback. He said, "Now that's called surfing."
Thank you.
But which I thought, I was like, that's kind of brilliant how you put that back together. But I'm gonna say, what would your dream versus be?
Oh man. It wouldn't make sense generationally, but it would make sense to me. I would like to see like Wu-Tang and Public Enemy. Just because there's so many of them. Like technically it's only Chuck and Flav, right? But like in the old Public Enemy, when the S1Ws were on, when Griff was on, and like, you know what I mean? Like the full spectrum of a PE performance, like Terminator X, all that shit was on. That would be pretty sick. I think though, in a more rational, real-time thing, I would definitely like to see Eminem and Busta Rhymes. I think that like, look at that face. Oh, he's not happy. I like that. I like
Busta
that.
Has a whole it came so much later. There's a whole like legacy before that.
I know,
Busta,
but I think two
Busta's
things.
hard to match
I think
up.
two things. Busta's hard to match up, but I think when it comes to that like really speed-based, like lyrical flow shit, like I don't know anybody other than maybe Twista who can hang with Eminem when he goes down that lyrical path. Yeah. You got like Twista, and then like who, like I'm not sure. Like I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying that I
don't sleep on Bun B. Bun B go fast. Bun B go fast.
I think you're right. But I think where he won't make it is with Busta's fast flows. America knows.
Yeah.
I can't see Busta going
America knows.
He's hard to pair up, man.
Flows like that. So that's where, like, even though probably, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Bus and M could do good. I mean, like, I would like to see. Let me see who else. I mean, you know. Also, there's this whole thing where, like, when you're really into hip hop, you know, you can fuck things up because, like, you love the culture so much. You can suggest some shit that people probably wouldn't give a fuck about, but that you would. Really
I'll say it don't even gotta be hip hop. It could just be any genre or anything against anything.
Ooh. I would like to see Bruce Lee fight Muhammad Ali. I'll go for Bruce Lee versus Muhammad Ali.
I think Muhammad Ali's speed would destroy him, man.
Nah, man, you can trip him. That's not fair. You can trip him. I ain't never seen Muhammad Ali kick nothing. You can't rope a dope.
Yeah, if they stay standing, like if they just stay standing, yeah. If they stay standing and Bruce Lee can't kick, maybe. But I think if it's MMA, like cage rules, I'm not saying Muhammad Ali can't grapple. I'm just saying I've never seen it.
All right, I got the last one for you, Adisa, man. This has been good.
This has been great, man. Thank you so much, man.
So
amazing.
Where do you see the social progression of the world going in the next 2 years with the Rona and all that other stuff going on?
All right, I'm gonna say some really controversial stuff right now, and but I don't think any of it'll get me canceled. But just listen. I think the Rona is gonna stay around and keep morphing. I think the worst of what the Rona has to give us has arrived, but I do think that periodically we'll get an intensity strain that will like take people out in small numbers, but I think by and large we've beaten it, right? I do believe that. But it'll still kill people, and it still does. I actually just saw somebody, a friend of theirs passed away. Like that's why I trip off a lot of the like conspiracy theory types. I'm not saying that they are off all the time, but I know people whose loved ones still die of corona. So I know.
Yeah, I have somebody who died 2 weeks ago.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It's tragic. You know what I mean? So it's still real. So I think that will continue. But I think by and large we've kind of beaten it, you know, all in all. I think as far as this war, I think that the war is going to get much worse, but will not go nuclear.
Oh no, I ain't.
Now I'm going to tell you why I think it's not. Now I'll tell you why I think it's not going to go nuclear, and this is where people are going to hate me. Some people. When you look at mass scale murder, when there's war, right? The nuclear bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? That's what brings an end to World War II.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Now, at the time, Hitler was actively executing Jews in record numbers, right? That's what the whole Holocaust is about. And it was a horrible thing. But when they had an opportunity to use a nuclear bomb, they used it on people that were not white. Right? They could have stopped Hitler, right? They could have stopped Hitler straight up, bombed all kinds of different cities. But they chose to bomb the Japanese because they were not white.
Yeah.
It's not ever going to go nuclear because too many Russians and other white Ukrainians that live here got relatives over there. Absolutely. In Moscow, in St. Petersburg, in all those places. And and the Russians don't want to send nukes over here. Not Granny. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, she got the babushka on. She can't be getting nuked. Ain't no gonna be no nuclear war. Because they don't kill each other like that. They kill us like that.
Hey, you ain't lying.
They drop bombs on black, brown, yellow, and red. Okay? They don't do that to each other. Right? So it's only for white supremacist, narcissistic love that they will never nuke each other. I'm not worried about no nuclear war. What we will see, though, is we're going to see Putin do something really nasty. Because like right now, I just saw that there's a 36-hour curfew because the Russians have been hitting residential areas with shells. Okay. So, and rockets and stuff. So that means that they're going to ratchet up their murder of civilians, which is inexcusable. And that means that America is going to do something to get involved. And that's what he's provoking. He's provoking China to get involved and sit with him. I promise you. Everything that's going on in the Ukraine is a ploy for him to try to bring China into the mix because America don't want beef like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to do something. Now, I believe it will be a hydrogen bomb, because people don't really think about the purpose of different weapons, because we're not a wise country, even though we like to make war all the time. The average citizens don't know. The purpose of a hydrogen bomb is to kill the individual but leave the infrastructure intact. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The Ukrainians are doing a fantastic job of guerrilla warfare and counterattacks, period. The Russians are having big problems and supply chain issues. I'm seeing caravans get stuck. There's all kinds of problems. War is expensive and it needs to be precise. This war is not precise and it is very expensive. And the less precise it is, the more expensive it becomes. Putin doesn't have a lot of options. He doesn't want to go out looking soft. I guarantee you, you're looking at a hydrogen bomb. You're looking at some real fucked up shit
Devastation.
that like we all remember. Shit that makes us like take our hats off and shit. All right. Like that day is real possible because he keeps escalating, trying to provoke America. The question is, will America step in and try to do something? I hope not, truly, because that's what he's looking for. He's looking, that whole I wish a nigga would.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that's where Putin's on.
Yeah.
I wish a nigga would try to intervene on behalf of some Ukrainians so I can blow some shit up, because I don't even know what this bomb's gonna do,
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, we could get to some pre-World War III shit. But ultimately, I believe the reason we're safe is because white people don't want to kill white people that bad. We won't have no nuclear problems.
Mm.
That's what I believe. That white love is going to keep us alive.
It's
not. It's not justice. It's not justice. It's not democracy. It's not socialism. It's white love is going to keep the world going. Because if this was in Syria, if this was in Mogadishu, if this was in Senegal, if this was in the Congo, they would have been dropped it. You heard me?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, they didn't take no time with Syria, man. They didn't take no time.
You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ain't nobody tripping. If this was Afghanistan, now let's talk about America. America is so exhausted militarily that the desire of so many stupid Americans to want to go fight with Russia is insane. We are exhausted from 20 years of a failed campaign in Afghanistan. And no disrespect to Afghanistan, that's not even a real country as far as war is concerned. They ain't got no Navy, ain't got no Air Force, okay? Russia got all of that in high technology. China got all of that in higher technology. We are not prepared to be fighting with China or Russia on a real scale. And of all of the countries on this earth that could bring war to our doorstep, see, America has always gotten over because every time it's time to fight, our sons and daughters go over somewhere else. War hasn't been brought to our shores. China could send something tonight. Russia could send something tonight. And we haven't ever had to deal with that kind of catastrophe. And we don't know what we're made of as a nation when these kinds of things happen. We'd like to think we have, this and that. And I believe we probably do. But I would like to not have to find out. And so I think that because of American propaganda and ignorance, I think that we believe we're much more prepared for a confrontation than we are, because we haven't had to deal with an opponent as capable of Russia or China in a long time, possibly ever. And so I really, I'm a man who believes in nonviolence, and I hope that that Putin or whoever can help Putin get sane and sober will de-escalate that the Ukrainians don't deserve anything that they're enduring right now, and whatever help they can get discreetly they should get. But man, this is a bad situation, bro. 2 years. Oh, and the gas is trash too, so we got to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if the American economy in 2 years, I have no idea what this economy is going to be like in 2 years. It's just too unpredictable.
Well, this question to anybody other than a scholar, you know what I'm saying? I feel like somebody when they were in that movie Life with Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy was reading the letter. He said, "Oh yeah, they killed the dog too. They killed." Like man, Bishop took all the sunshine. He sucked all the sunshine out.
Yeah, but it's refreshing to hear a take that isn't glamorized or the way people speak. They have this social media speak where they want to appear to be more knowledgeable than they actually are, or appear that they care more than they actually do. You know what I mean? This guy just sounds like he knows what he's talking about, and he gave me a lot to think about. On top of my own opinions and the people who I've vetted, the Ukrainian people I know, and the like I said, it just I appreciate your informed, like it gave me some things to think about. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Man. Thank you. Yeah, no, this has been fun, man. You know what I'm saying? And like I know I saw a post, like everybody's like, oh, all these people that used to be online who are experts about Corona, they're all about to be expert military strategists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but and you already know I started rolling when I saw that. But I mean, like on the real, like I have read extensively about military strategy since I was like 20 years old. I'm talking about Sun Tzu, Art of War, Art of Peace, Machiavelli. I've read books that compare the military strategies of people like Clausewitz, Mao Zedong with Machiavelli. Like I'm talking about like serious years of reading about warfare. Now, I've never been in the military. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But like, I know a lot more than most people, like just because I was always curious. And we've got a lot to figure out in the next couple of years. I mean, to be honest, like look at Biden, this guy, right? Never was a fan of Kamala either, right? But Lord knows I don't love Trump at all. At all. And so what this really means is that the American people have been failed by both parties in a crucial time where we need authentic leadership. This is horrible.
You're like Kanye West.
This is horrible. You feel me? This is horrible. And I don't care what party you belong to. If you think that this is lit right now, you're absolutely tripping. Both parties deserve to give us, we deserve apologies from our parties. We deserve a lot of resignations. And tragically, the people who probably could help us don't even have access to the lanes that they need because the bureaucracies inside the American political system are so heavy that we don't have access to the people we need.
Until it starts affecting their bottom line, it's not going to matter. They're making too much money. They're making way too much money off of everything that's going on. So, and that COVID only made it worse. The bigger companies stayed open the whole time. Yeah, and made us rely.
You know
on
what I'm saying?
Mom and pop shut down all around unless you were selling PPE products.
Yeah, you were out. You were out. Nah, it's real, bro. Nah.
Well, man, man, I want to thank you, Bishop. Man, you know what I'm saying? You took my my relaxful, peaceful Sunday away from me on a Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? It might be a little more difficult for me to enjoy some sweet treat and some Disney Plus on Sunday. But I want to sorry. But it can't always be Sundays with bananas and nuts and
that's right, a nice Sunday
chocolate syrup. You know what I'm saying? It can't all be that, but I appreciate it. So check it out. Where can they check your podcast out, Bishop?
Yo, so Bishop Chronicles Podcast is on iTunes and Spotify and most major platforms. Please subscribe, right? The upcoming episode, which drops tomorrow, is on fear. Like, how do we deal with fear? How do we conquer it? And how do we win? It's produced by Mike Realm. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And the podcast is on, stoic philosophy and the art of not quitting. Like, how do you find the mindset to not give up when you really feel like giving up? Right? We have a recent podcast that deal with anger, management. At the end of every show, you have actionable things you can do. You know what I'm saying? So please follow and listen. Man, y'all, thank you so much for having me on. I had a lot of fun. As soon as you asked me to be on, you know, I was already like, whatever. And anything you want, I got. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. It's all love. You know what I'm saying? No, I deeply appreciate you. And thank you for, you know, sharing your platform and your time and your ideas and your laughter with me. This has been great.
Oh, no, man. Mike hasn't given me many things that I haven't liked. You know what I'm saying? only thing I say is questionable about Mike is his love for the stinky cheeses. I think he can get down with some foodieisms that go further than me, man.
We see eye to eye on most things, but he definitely has his own lanes. You know what
He
I'm
goes
saying?
far with the foodie. He surpasses me on the highway of foodieisms, man. You know what I'm saying? He surpasses me. I love Mike to death, though. And so you, Jeremy, you got anything coming up? Anything going on?
What's the best thing to plug? Let's just say Laugh Factory Chocolate Sundays on April 4th. Let me see. Yeah, that'll probably be a week from now. Yeah, everything else, just follow me. Jeremy Scippio, SCIPPIO.com, and on Instagram at Jeremy Comedy. Also, I want to shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for being super active today. And y'all got a lot of gems dropped on y'all. So hopefully y'all follow. I left all the links to everybody's social media stuff in the chat. Thank you guys.
Real quick though, Jeremy, let them know where they can check out your special.
What's it? If you want to support, that would be on iTunes. There's a link on my IG. You click that link and go straight there. You can buy it, and every time you get in the car, it's gonna pop on. But if you just want to check it out and just hear some of my stuff I got to say, it's literally on every streaming platform. If it's not on a streaming platform, you let me know. I'll get it to you.
Dope. Well, no, man. Thank you, gentlemen. This has been I feel like this has been what do you call it? This has been some what do you call it? The word I'm looking for, man. Intellectual conversation.
Yes, sir. It's been great, man. No, this was great. And thank you for letting me reminisce about my path in hip hop, man, because that was hella fun.
We gonna do it again, man. We're gonna have to come back and do something every 3 months or so, man.
And I'm coming down. I'm coming down to LA at some point. So,
man,
you know what I mean? On some jiu-jitsu stuff, you know what I mean? But I'll come out and we can kick it, man. Do some dinner, marinate, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I'll have you take you out, man. Maybe I have to set you loose on somebody, man, and just see you get the action.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, bro. I'm just gonna be meditating and levitating, bro. Like
all good. Well, man, it's been Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV. Peace.